A Toronto police disciplinary hearing is unfolding against the backdrop of a province-wide corruption crackdown, and it brings into further question about police priorities, especially inside Canada's largest police service. So let's dig in.
Why today I am announcing an independent, province-wide inspection into the ability of Ontario's police services and boards to prevent, detect, respond to, and fortify their organizations against corruption and ensure integrity.
Staff Sergeant Ernest, also known as Dave Haynes, is a veteran Toronto Police Service officer and happens to be the son-in-law of Ontario Premier Doug Ford. He was back before a Toronto Police Tribunal this morning, facing internal charges including discreditable conduct, breach of confidence, and insubordination. But what is usually procedural has turned contentious.
My husband is trying to hold the Toronto Police Service Command accountable for public safety and officer safety, and he's been severely charged for it.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the charges. There is this dispute that is ongoing. There's hearings that have been happening. There's one happening soon. Toronto Police obviously have a very different view of all of this, but tell me a little bit of some of the charges.
Okay, so the charges, social media. So posting in uniform is a big charge. And then there's like individual counts. Now, what you have to understand is that these charges, he's been posting in uniform to put the service in a very good light for several years. Like he started Instagram in 2013. I think he was posting in uniform in 2015 onwards.
Yeah.
It's not been an issue since COVID, the mandates, as he came back from unpaid leave. And so they charged him. One of the posts is, I kid you not, it's a City News clipping in a soup kitchen helping dish out Thanksgiving meals.
Quite often, our communities are dealing with such difficult times on a day-to-day basis, whether it's crime, whether it's mental health. So this, we find as police officers, just give us an ability to talk to our community members and let them know that we appreciate them.
Prosecutor Frank Addario moved to withdraw several charges, including at least one entire case, and narrow another, saying the service was simply trying to streamline and focus the matter. But defense counsel Bathsheba Vandenberg wasn't buying it. She argued the withdrawals, coming nearly 2 years into this expensive process, form part of a broader and larger abuse of process, which was a motion she was originally intending to raise at the scheduled proceedings today and tomorrow until a full adjournment was requested. Vandenberg raised concerns about late disclosure last week, including lengthy affidavits and investigative materials she says were only recently provided, calling it an ambush. She also pointed to Haynes's PTSD, which the tribunal has acknowledged and accommodated, saying he requires adequate time to review and respond to such complex materials. Given all of this, the defense asked for an adjournment until next week. But the prosecution pushed back, arguing that many of the disclosed emails were already known to Haynes and or his former counsel. And he reminded the tribunal that police disciplinary proceedings under the Statutory Powers Procedure Act are meant to be efficient and cost-effective. But then came the ruling. The hearing officer, Inspector Branton, said he agreed in part with both sides. But fairness, he said, must ultimately be measured in relation to Staff Sergeant Haynes. And he granted an adjournment, but only for today. The motion will proceed at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning as originally scheduled. The tribunal will also use February 18th to continue the matter and is looking into March dates if needed. Notably, the hearing officer directed that certain unrelated members' names be anonymized before proceedings resume. So while this internal battle plays out, it's important to also zoom out because this is happening at the same time that Ontario's Inspector General of Policing has just launched a sweeping province-wide corruption inspection of this very service.
Although this issue originated with the Toronto Police Service, we have since learned that other organizations may be impacted. And in any event, incidents like these understandably shake public trust in policing more broadly. It's important to acknowledge the real questions the public is asking and the potential effect these questions may have on their confidence in Ontario's policing system. This province-wide inspection will be conducted under the authority of Ontario's Community Safety and Policing Act, the province's policing legislation.
That investigation was triggered by York Regional Police's explosive Project South probe, which has led to charges against 7 current Toronto police officers, 1 retired officer, and 19 other suspects. The allegations are staggering: conspiracy to commit murder, bribery, drug trafficking, shootings, extortion, and critically, the leaking of sensitive police database information to organized crime. 4 accused officers have been suspended without pay, 2 more suspended with pay, 10 current and former Toronto members are implicated. Chief Myram Demkew has called the allegations deeply disappointing while requesting outside scrutiny into supervision, vetting, database access, and fitness for duty.
As of today, I'll be seeking the suspension without pay for 6 of the 7 members who have been alleged to have committed criminal offenses. We have also deployed additional supervision to where we need to. We're continuing to work to enhance the capacity of professional standards. And we are working to stand up a working group that will look at our internal processes, practices, and everything that we do to ensure that we're responding as quickly as we can, recognizing the work of the Inspector General may take some time. We will support that work completely.
But the bigger question that many in the public are wondering is, how did it get this far? For years, Toronto police leadership has heavily emphasized DEI initiatives, diversity targets, inclusion training, and equity frameworks, attending and participating in drag events, while violent crime, brazen carjackings, and public safety concerns have escalated across the city. Now we're seeing allegations of database leaks to organized crime, internal disciplinary fights over disclosure, and withdrawn charges after years of potentially weaponized process. No wonder public confidence is shaken and community safety is dwindling. Headlines are dominated by corruption probes. The public isn't thinking about equity statements. The public deserves to know if the basics, supervision, integrity, accountability, and merits are being neglected, while the service is preoccupied with optics, internal politics, or initiatives that fail to address core operational standards. Trust is built on competence and transparency, not messaging. To be clear, the allegations against Haynes are separate from Project South, and neither have been proven, but perception shapes this trust. And right now, the Toronto police are facing a credibility crisis on multiple fronts: criminal court, internal tribunals accused of abusive process, and now a province-wide inspection. The Haynes motion resumes tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and as Ontario's watchdog prepares to scrutinize corruption controls across the province, the spotlight on Toronto police has never been brighter. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you'd like to see more reports on this file and join in on calls for accountability, head on over to firethechief.ca. That's firethechief.ca.